Hello and welcome to the SuperShow podcast, episode 50. The big 50, fellas.
Woo, we made it. I don't know
who
what we made it to, but yeah.
That we went this far. I'm your host, Chris, and joining me today is Jamie with his luscious locks and Jonesy with his cyberpunk chair.
Side effect of going back into lockdown is the hair's coming back. It's weird to think I was fully bald like a few months ago.
That's insane to think.
Well, I've had
tempted to go Bam Bam Bigelow again?
No, I don't think I could ever go Bam Bam Bigelow again. Especially, I've had normal haircuts since then as well, probably two. It just keeps coming back no matter what you do. Can't keep the hair away.
It's kind of weird.
It grows damn fast.
Thank you. I take that as a compliment.
Keep the hair away.
Oh, the hair. I
need a bit of a trim as well. Look at that. It's like,
well, nice. See, I look at that and I laugh, but I guess that's probably long for you, right?
Well, I mean, it's kind of long.
Chris, you look like a school shooter when you do that. Please be careful.
Jonesy's
hair is deceptively long. Look at that.
Yeah, that's mental. Put
that's
it down,
probably long.
That's long.
That's longer than. Well, Jonesy's got a massive forehead though.
Oh, I just had it cut. I had it cut a little while ago, so it's not
like. See, my hair looks weird when I pull my fringe down, which I won't do now. But it's because my forehead's 3 fingers rather than 4.
I've got a forehead. See, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I've got a forehead. Yeah, whatever.
Like if I do my
what is it? What is this?
James got a 3 head.
A hair cutting podcast? No, it's a gaming podcast, fellas. We're available on YouTube and podcasting platforms of your choice. I'm talking Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, radio.com, all of these things. We're also on Paisley Radio, which is paisleyradio.com, which is an internet radio, believe it or not. And it's damn good. They've got programming all week, and we are available on there Thursday at 10 p.m. So go check it out. Or if you're listening on Paisley Radio, go check out the YouTube. And, have a good time. Fellas,
can I, for our audio listeners only, can I just quickly say something that is really important? If you want to find out if you have a 4 head or a 3 head or a 5 head, as we were just doing, and you didn't see it, what you do is you line your hand up just above with the top of your eyebrows and see how many fingers until it touches your hairline. So I have 4 fingers between my eyebrows and my hairline, so that is why I'm a 4 head.
I guess it depends.
Everyone around the world listening to this,
but hold on, because I've got a forehead, but then again, I've got monkey paws, whereas Jamie's got like gorilla.
but also, as you can see now,
beast.
like my hairline isn't straight. I've got the kind of the thing where it comes down in the middle.
Oh, you got the fucking Vegeta hairline.
Vampire.
I like
the Vegeta hairline, yeah, I guess so.
I like it.
Which is probably a roundabout way of saying that I'm just receding faster at the edges than I am in the middle. But I'll take it. Vegeta, let's go, baby.
Fair. You know what was cool, though? Because obviously Spotify had their kind of, I don't know what they called it, but their year in review where they're like, this is all the shit you've listened to. And a handful of people have been like, hey, you guys are my number 1 podcast. Yay.
That's wicked.
So,
that's cool.
Thank you. Really, really do appreciate that. Even if it's in the top 5, like fucking hell.
Can I make a bizarre confession?
Yeah.
The Super Show podcast was not in my top 5 podcasts, but the all-time gaming one was for some reason. I guess weird, I went back and listened to old ATG podcasts more than I actually ever listened to any current.
Or do you think it's maybe one day you just put on the old ATG podcast and then just left it and it just cycled through?
Maybe there is. It does have a stat for that. It tells you your biggest podcast marathon.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, I listened to 3 episodes of the IGN UK podcast in one day.
I did 4 episodes of the official podcast, and I don't know how that's possible. So
yeah. I should add that that's the only part of my Spotify wrap up I'm going to be revealing today, because everything else was mortifyingly embarrassing and just a horrifying reminder of how bad my tastes are.
Fair enough. I'm sure the Super Show Patreon exclusive Spotify playlist did not help with any of that either.
No, but you know what? Funnily enough, it was on the right track. If you take a little sample of what's going on there, that somewhat informs the rest of my year.
All right, guys. Well,
I don't listen to Spotify. I need to get on it.
But, man. Jonesy's more of a cassette tape kind of guy.
No, I'm Amazon Music. I only listen to that because the kids can use it, so they talk to the.
Because you got an Alexa
and stuff. Yeah. They can do it, so they talk to it and tell it what to play.
Fair.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Fair. All right, guys. Well, jumping straight into the news. a little bit more Fortnite stuff. Now I know, the viewers might be going, "Oh, fuck this Fortnite bullshit," but there's something interesting here because for a brief moment in time, Fortnite was no more. It's just gone. Couldn't play Fortnite. Oh wow, well, marketing. There we go. But yeah, they just finished up their I believe it was the Chapter 2 Season 4 event, which was Marvel's Galactus, the planet-eating dude. Don't know what you call him.
He seems like a dude.
An entity. There we go. A force of nature. And he, as far as I understand it, ate the core of the world of Fortnite while simultaneously being beaten by your heroes or some shit like that. And then the servers went down to load up the next season, which I believe, if you're listening to this, it's probably up already, which is season 5.
Yes, which I think we actually talked about last week. We already knew some of the kind of the skins and the cross-promotional stuff they were doing for season 5.
How many skins, Jamie?
4 skins as always, Chris. I'm not going to fall for that one again. But I think still, we mentioned him last week, but the Mandolorian still seems to be the main takeaway here. I actually watched a little trailer for the Season 5 Battle Pass.
Yeah.
And the character that Troy Baker voices called, I think, Agent Jones, who seems to be a figure that exists kind of in this separate alternate universe that overlooks the Battle Royale universe that keeps cycling through all these different themes. I don't know, there's a lot going on. And I don't really understand it.
Yeah.
But he said in the Battle Pass trailer, he seemed to be leading like a group of bounty hunters, which were led, foremost amongst them were the Mandalorian. Although it doesn't necessarily, the bounty hunter theme doesn't necessarily make sense with some of the other bits and pieces we've got to share today.
Yeah, kind of weird. But yeah, so it's interesting, isn't it? Because it almost implied that the Fortnite Battle Royale that you're playing in each game is just part of a looped simulation, which is an interesting way of kind of trying to justify something that doesn't need any justification whatsoever. So what the fuck are you thinking, Epic Games? But hey, there you go.
It's nice that they feel they have to tack on some sort of sense of reality to it, but they don't need to.
I got to say this much. As much as I don't like Fortnite or whatever, it is still, as we mentioned last week, the biggest game in the world, or if not one of them. But I have to hand it to them that their events, like if you're a fan, having these kind of events that, take the whole season and they culminate in this big epic kind of thing, showdown, whatever it may be, that's fucking cool. Like, I wish that I had something like that on Dota 2. Or how cool would it be if there was actually something like that in Warzone, rather than you wake up one day and there's a fucking 120 gig update and it's like, oh, hey, the stadium's open.
Yeah, man, you got to give it to them. Like the fan service in Fortnite is really good, and just because I don't play the game, I can still appreciate it, and I love the stuff they do. Like the music video thing that they did as well. I can't remember who that was who did it, and the some of the other things they've done have been wicked. And this whole season, like the season ends and you can't play, and you've got and Galactus, and it's wicked. I'd love it if they did.
Well, you're not the only one that thought it was wicked, Jonesy, because 15.3 million concurrent players, the biggest in-game event that Fortnite has ever had. And I wonder if that's actually the biggest in-game event that any game has had, because 15.3 million.
I mean, it's
got to be up there, right?
Almost unfathomable numbers.
Yes, it is.
That is, what's that? That's about the quarter of the population of the UK.
Okay, well, when you put it like that, it's not that.
That's incredible. That's an amazing number. Imagine 1 in 4 people in the whole of the United Kingdom just sat at home doing playing Fortnite.
It is kind of mad, and it's shit like this that makes me think that I should just get onto my Fortnite account for those kind of end of thing events, because from what I understand, it wasn't just a battle royale. It's like everyone coming together to fight Galactus, and then there was like an on rails section where you kind of scale up his body to deliver a payload in his mouth, and just one of those. And I don't know, it sounds pretty cool,
Yeah, and it's fascinating as someone, again, who it's very easy to fall into the trap of when an ongoing game like Fortnite is just doing its thing and moving from season to season.
Yeah.
That to think it's maybe it's dwindling or the numbers aren't there, or just because you aren't hearing about it. But every now and then they have these big events, or they move on to another season in a big way, and you're reminded just what the pulling power is. And even my regular Warzone Twitch streamers that I go and watch, they've all been playing Fortnite the whole last week because everyone enjoys the build up to the event, and then there's the event itself, which is a big streaming thing for Twitch and YouTube. And then of course the new season actually starts, and everyone wants to see what the crack is. So it makes sense sort of from whatever perspective you look at it, and it's a testament to the staying power of not just Fortnite as a game, but also how these big events are doing wonders for keeping people in that loop.
So there were 3.4 million people actually, Jamie, that watched across Twitch and YouTube, which is mental. But I just kind of wish that other games as a service games would take this into it. You know what is super fucking telling?
What's that?
Is that Fortnite's games as a service out Marvel's games as a service. Who fucking
true? No, true, 100%.
Mental, absolutely insane. But so there's the Mando skins and the Baby Yoda fucking. I hate what they call it, but they call it back bling. Jesus Christ!
What's back bling?
That's like your backpack.
It's like a backpack.
Oh right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a bag.
That was probably a term that that sounded cool to them, however many years ago, and maybe they regret it in 2020. But you roll with the punches, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, once you're locked in, right?
I mean, we called our podcast the Super Show. So,
what are you talking? Because we couldn't necessarily call it the 5-star podcast. Well, maybe we could have actually. I don't know. Hey, I think
we probably would have got away with
I think this show is pretty fucking super, and I believe it'll be super for years to come. But anyway,
wow.
It's now also been confirmed that Kratos, the god of war himself, the Greek god of war, I might add, is coming to Fortnite as a skin. And I don't know about you. I don't know if you guys have seen the skin, but it looks really fucking strange, man.
Well,
that art style makes everything look a little weird.
Yeah, I was going to say it has to be Fortnite-ified to a certain extent, right?
I guess, but it's just like, okay, so it's the latest God of War iteration, so the dad of war with the beard. But he just looks a little bit too skinny, and he's meant to be an older, grislier Kratos, but he just looks kind of like porcelain smooth. You know what he looks like? He looks like those fucking latex fetish videos that Jamie has been telling me about that I don't know anything about at all. So,
Yeah, we don't need to talk about them. It's all right.
But I get what you mean, but I think he looks fine. I think he just looks Fortnite-y. It's all right.
Just seems like the most low rent way of bringing Kratos into Fortnite. That's just me. Whatever. I'm picky.
I don't know. I'm just excited
I get stuck up on these things.
I think that you have to kind of smooth over Kratos' particularly bumpy skin, don't you, to Fortnite? I'm just excited for the Xbox fans, because this is the closest they'll ever get to playing the 2018 Game of the Year. So enjoy.
Yeah, fair. But speaking of the Xbox fans, there's a rumor. Now, it might have been a Photoshop or it might have been a leak, whatever it may be, but there is a rumor that Master Chief is going to be coming to Fortnite as well. At this point, it just kind of feels like they're trying to be the Smash Brothers of Battle Royale.
Well, this, Chris, ties into
great show.
an additional rumor that I won't take any credit for because I saw it on Twitter first.
Yeah.
But some people are speculating that obviously, like, Kratos it seems like pretty much set, even though Fortnite, I believe themselves, or Epic themselves, haven't officially confirmed it. Yeah. Master Chief is like a slightly less of a rumor. The possibility of a Game Awards announcement next week of a Sony mascot, an Xbox mascot, and a Nintendo mascot all being announced and coming to Fortnite at the same time. Maybe. What about a little Samus Aran action, a little Metroid love?
That would be hard.
Could you see it happening? Samus, Kratos, and Master Chief all coming to Fortnite?
It makes sense, right? Like, Fortnite does quite well on the Switch, I believe. Like, why not?
Yeah. What?
They need to get over the Metroid thing.
What do you mean over the Metroid
Alex
thing?
Jones.
Like, it's so overdone. Who cares?
It's so overdone.
I'm so bored. People talk about Metroid.
Let me ask the big question that really is going to put a knife in Jonesy's whole fucking gaming career right now. Name one Metroid game you ever fucking even played, you dope.
None of them.
Yeah,
this is the point.
Exactly.
This is the point. We're still waiting. We've been waiting for a new Metroid game for such a long time. Like, talk about it when there's a goddamn game out. Like, we've been talking about it for the last 3 or 4 years now because of a tiny reveal at E3. You know,
a tiny reveal
2 years ago.
for the fourth entry in a series. It's not like it's an unknown entity
it doesn't matter.
that hasn't earned anything.
It is an unknown entry.
No,
they didn't show anything. And everyone pretended they gave a shit.
It's the fourth game.
Nobody cares about it. This was just on that little train of things people pretend to give a shit about.
People
Alex
pretending
Jones,
to give a shit about
that Super Mario is for kids and
Super Mario is for kids.
The Nintendo Switch is a dinky little console for cartoon games.
There is nothing wrong with a dinky little console for a bit of kids gaming. I enjoy it myself, but it is what it is. Don't pretend it's not.
Why don't you go and spend another couple of £100 on Star Citizen, you fucking cuck?
I haven't spent £100 yet. No, look, it's fine. As soon as there's a Metroid Prime game that comes out that I can play and I can get into or not, then I will decide if I care about a crossover. But until that happens, I don't care.
I don't believe you because you haven't played any Metroid game.
Exactly. Stop getting excited about games that haven't even come out yet, that haven't even had anything.
We're not getting excited about games that haven't come. That's like saying we're not allowed to get excited about Master Chief because Halo Infinite's not out yet. You're ignoring the fucking 70 other Halo games.
No, but but there's not even anything to look at or to get your teeth into. There's not even any game footage or gameplay.
It's a character that's been around for over 30 years and people have a reverence for.
It's just a character. I don't even believe that many people have a reverence for Samus either.
Wow.
Everyone's got a reverence for Samus because they thought that they were playing that game as a dude and then they saw it was a chick and then they got the ending where she was in a bra and pants and they had a wank. That's why everyone has a big reverence for it.
As a little pixelated piece of crap.
One of the first people ever saw.
I've also never played Halo, but I completely understand the love for Master Chief. No, I completely understand the love for Master Chief because you can see the love, you can see the game footage. You can
hold on. You can see the love.
You can see Master Chief.
You're coming with a different perspective.
Samus is in. You look at the last game that came out for a Metroid game, and Samus is a pixelated little blob of shit.
That's just untrue.
It is true.
Well, I think actually the last Metroid game with the word Prime in the title was the weird 3DS one with all the mini games like Metroid Prime Rocket League where you shoot the ball into the goal and stuff like that.
I'm so excited about that. This is exactly.
This is mental. You come up with the same argument for two games, but you come to two different conclusions.
No. It's completely different.
I've never played Halo, but I can understand the reverence for the character of Master Chief. And it's fine. And then it's like, I've never played a fucking Metroid game, but I don't understand why people like Samus. Get over it. Like, it's just...
No, not I don't understand why people like... I don't understand why people get all excited about Samus as a character in the future of those games when it's like that was like such an open question.
Metroid and Super Metroid and the Metroid Prime trilogy were like 5 of the best Nintendo games of all time.
But too long ago to be excited now. Get over it.
Wow. Jesus.
Too long ago. You fucking got excited for a hot minute about the Prince of Persia remake. When was their last fucking Prince of Persia?
The last good one.
Oh God.
Exactly.
10, 15 years ago. No, 12 years ago, something like that. About 12 years ago.
Yeah,
basically.
And you want to talk to me about who's more iconic, the Prince or Samus?
I've never said the Prince is like. I've never told anyone else they should be excited about it.
He's a big wet wipe. He's a fucking emo that no one likes.
Also, he's been around for probably been around for longer than Samus has been around for. To be fair,
probably, but so what?
Well, apparently, length of longevity means that you should care more about a character.
Yeah, but hold on, Jonesy, hold on, because you told me before we started recording that length has got nothing to do with it, and it's what you do with it's what you do with what you got. Come on, you told me that, dude.
Like I'm cool. I am such a hype train kind of person. Like I love getting on the hype train. I love getting overly excited about games before I should. But this new thing that people have these days to like get so excited about the idea of a game that they've had nothing for, and the last time they saw it was
that is
20 odd years ago.
No, it's not
too much.
20
it's too much.
Just your bias against Nintendo.
Well, no, but I'm not talking about Metro. I'm talking about in general. Like in these days, it seems like it can be 20 years ago, 25 years ago, people get really excited, and you're like, okay, A more recent one was even like Animal Crossing. I didn't understand the excitement for the new Animal Crossing. Like it was an okay game from 7 years, I think, and you're like, why has this hype train gone so mental? I don't know. It's weird to me. It's very strange to me.
This sounds more and more like a Nintendo thing. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Yeah, like you've just got a vendetta against Nintendo. How dare you?
I love Nintendo. I absolutely love Nintendo.
I don't think you do.
I'm just a realist.
You slag off their consoles. You slag off their first-party titles. You slag off the people who play them.
No, you take it as slagging off. I like Nintendo very much. I've always loved Nintendo, but you think the way I describe it is
like this is like when Donald Trump reminds everyone how much he loves African Americans and Mexicans. I love them. I love them.
Wow. Okay.
Nintendo have always been like my. They would formed the basis of my gaming in general.
They form the basis of the economy.
I can see them for what they are.
Jesus. All right. Well, guys.
Anyway,
we digress. Let's just move on. And you know what I want to move on to? There's no clear segue for it, but I'm just going to go into it anyway. Our patrons, yay! Because this show is brought to you by a select few. The creme de la creme of generous people. But if you'd like to support the show in any way that you can, head on over to patreon.com/SuperShow. We've got tiers ranging from $2, which gets you Discord access to our Minecraft server, access to our Spotify playlist, as I mentioned earlier, all the way up. And you can get some Patreon exclusive podcasts. In fact, we recorded yesterday a Patreon exclusive Q&A, part 1, because we've got so many questions that we'll do a part 2 at another date. So head on over there, check it out. In the meantime, we've got some people to thank because these people have opened up their wallets to us and we've opened up our loins. And I'm talking about AIM, Aaron Cameron, Athletic Gravy, Brett Z, Freddie K Official, Hacksaw Book Read, Jesper Camdal Nielsen, Leo Merger, Lonnie Thompson, Martin Skihan, Mindful Pig, Nathan Piers, Scary Omen, Starfall Kid, and the big boys, Peaswad, The Dude Abides, and Manuel Guerrero.
Hey, there they are.
So now,
thanks everyone.
So now, last week I said that that was Peaswad, that was The Dude Abides, and we said that if there was going to be a third person, it might just have to be testicular in nature.
Yes.
But now, seeing as there's only one extra person, and I do have 2 testicles, I think testicle 1 is going to have to be Manuel, and testicle 2 is going to have to be Guerrero. So.
Okay, so now you've got Mr. PP with Manny and Guerrero.
It's not the boys anymore.
Yeah, it's not the boys. The boys have been split up. The boys have disbanded.
No, I miss the boys.
Just name something else. The boys. I don't know what else you have. What a human. I don't know. Like your knees.
My knees are called the boys. That's fine. Yeah. I think you should keep the balls as the boys and name your nipples Manuel Guerrero.
Ooh. Well, hang on. That. I don't know. Manuel didn't agree to this. This wasn't what he signed up for. So we got to be careful here.
Yeah, in a way, we kind of want him to keep pledging.
Yeah, he just watches this and is like, I didn't sign up to be named after a fucking nipple. He just cancels immediately.
Jesus. Yeah. Okay. Now, we haven't decided on a comment of the week, which is what I like to kind of wrap everything out into.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Go on, Jones. You want to pick one?
I was gonna. I quite like the this comment. When Chris is sitting in this room, it looks like he's sitting in a baby crib with that background, which fits perfectly with my idea that he's the shortest of the 3.
That's a good comment
because it kind of does look like you're sitting in a baby crib.
You've done that on purpose, right? You've got like the thing behind you with the slats. You've got the 2 walls either side.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say what it is. Could be a throne. Could be a fancy toilet, I mean, I am a Greek South African. You don't know where we defecate, okay? So could be any of these things. I'm going to leave that up to the imagination. But I will confirm that I am indeed the shortest of the 3 by quite a large margin.
But
by a reasonable amount.
It's interesting that's like that we even have to comment on that because...
Oh, hold on. Sorry, Jamie, before you go, that is coming from our pal Leonard.
Shout out to Leonard. But I was just going to say that when you come into a situation like this or like a dynamic like ours, especially with how long we've been working and recording together, we just kind of assumed that it's obvious for whatever reason, like what the differences between us are, whether it's in height or whatever. But you realize very quickly when you read some comments that, yeah, some people have no idea. And I think we're having a conversation, I can't remember if it was on the Discord or where it was, but inside the last couple of months where some people who listened for a long time didn't know who was tall and who was short. And I someone even thought that I was the short one, which I think is a side effect of the width that I maybe bring to the proceedings, the girth. I don't know. But if
they're looking at this camera, your camera is at a high angle.
So the high angle, I might be the closest to it. It's touch and go with Jonesy.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you know what's funny is because I've never thought about this, but I would love to have known like what people's expectations were, and then to meet everyone in real life. If we could get all the patrons together, and almost like one of those reveal TV shows where they can sort of draw what they think, like, you can have like a silhouette, and they're like, how big do you think they are? Is this, or you could have 3 different silhouettes of 3 people, and they could say, right, is this them, or is this them?
That's quite funny.
And then the real one gets revealed. I think people would be genuinely shocked by how big Jamie is, like height wise, because he's a big dude.
I'm not that tall.
He's a tall guy. You're a tall guy, man.
But hold on, you know what the good thing is when it's the trifecta, right? With me being as short as I am compared to you two, it does make you guys seem taller.
I mean,
yes, it does. Yeah,
there were some video recordings that like we had to amend on the fly with objects and props for. I hope you don't mind me saying this, but for Chris to perch on. But there would definitely be some points where we've looked at the viewfinder, or whoever's filming has sort of flipped the viewfinder around for us to see, and it's like a father and a son. When Chris and I stand next to each other on camera.
The worst time that ever happened.
Yeah.
Was on green screen, right? Because you have no reference to anything other than...
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it makes everything look really distorted and kind of... Like, you see it standing next to each other in real life, it's like, it's just a slightly taller than average and a slightly shorter than average. But for some reason, the disparity on camera was...
Yeah.
I think it's because when you're talking to someone as well, like, I often don't realise how much taller or shorter than me someone is. Like, we used to have a guy we worked with, both you guys know, Stu, who's a tall dude as well. Yeah. And I never realised how tall he was because I thought he wasn't that big. And then I saw pictures of like me with him and I'm like, oh, Jesus, that guy's huge.
Yeah.
And it's sort of it's quite surprising.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to the green screen thing, the first time I think we were recording an end board, weren't we? And we were both on the green screen. And it just looked like that poster from Twins. Where I was fucking Danny DeVito, like this short dude, like cramped in the corner. It is mental. It was
bizarre.
I will say, okay, I am short, but I am a perfectly acceptable short size. Okay, I'm 5'6". That's okay.
So this is okay, but what a lot of people might not realize, which I've become a bit obsessed with over the years, is the heights of like Hollywood actors. And roughly speaking, the average height of a lot of Hollywood actors is about your height, Chris. Is about like 5'6" to 5'7", 5'8", something like that. They're not particularly tall guys because the problem is you've got to get as we've had the problem with where you try and get Jamie and Chris in a shot together. You want to get like male actors and female actors to be roughly the same sort of size to when you're trying to frame up a shot. So you end up with tall women and shorter guys. So Chris, I think what we're trying to say is you should be in Hollywood.
I should be, baby.
You're the next Tom Cruise. What's he, about 5'6"?
I think he's 5'6" or 5'7".
Yeah. Sylvester Stallone apparently is really small.
Yeah, but then
he's like 5'5".
On the inverse of that, you get some dudes that you didn't realize are like absolute fucking behemoths. Like I'm gonna probably butcher his name, but John Krasinski.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
the dude from The Office and The Quiet Place. He is like fucking towering.
Right.
Yeah, I get that quite a lot with sportsmen, and I know it's kind of stating the obvious that like the professional level athletes in almost any department are going to be, specimens, for want of a better way of putting it. But every time you meet one in real life, with the exception of some sports like fucking jockeys or F1 drivers, when you meet professional footballers, professional rugby players, boxers, MMA fighters, I feel like every single time my reaction is, holy shit, that dude's fucking taller than I thought he was and more jacked than I thought he was.
Yeah. Oh, especially those NBA dudes, fucking mental.
I've never met a professional NBA player, but I can't imagine what that's like.
Yeah. For the record, John Krasinski is 6'3".
Wow.
Yeah, that's tall enough to come off as tall for sure.
Tall enough.
I've got a mate who is an ex sort of semi-pro rugby player, and he is about 6'3" and he's jacked, and it makes me feel like a child when I see him, because he's massive. But similarly, it's funny because when my mate went to Loughborough University. I don't know if it still is, but it's a very big sports university. I hated it because everyone there was like 6 foot, and I did not enjoy that experience.
I have a cousin. Not only did he go to Loughborough, but he went to Loughborough, and his sport was water polo. He's like 6 foot,
right?
6'7". I have a lot of very tall. There's a side on my mum's side of the family. I have cousins and uncles like who are all like 6'5", 6'7".
Wow.
I got unlucky in some respects. To be honest. Even my brother's taller than me.
Oh, what are you? Oh.
Yeah,
Never met your brother. There we go.
No, you probably will one day, I guess, if we keep doing this long enough. He's around. He's around. He's a person. He's around. He's a person. He exists. I messaged him yesterday. He still hasn't replied.
Wow.
Did he manage to get hold of a PS5?
My brother.
Yeah, was it your brother who was trying to get hold of one?
They're different brothers. So the one that's like closer to the one that's 24 is doesn't care about video games or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
He's the one that will like occasionally play FIFA. That's it.
Isn't that so mad though? Like it does seem mad to me, but I know that like of my friends that I grew up with, I think only 1 or 2 of them are like into gaming.
Yeah.
But I think we've just been so absorbed into like the gaming lifestyle that like it just seems mental to me that anyone aged like 8 or fucking
is not into it.
Yeah, 14 to my age it wouldn't be into it. It's like such a foreign kind of concept in a way.
Yeah,
it's very strange.
I agree. It seems foreign. I remember that feeling. Sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead. You remember the feeling?
I was going to say, I remember the feeling through school. It felt like every year another percentage of people would drop off. And you're almost kind of waiting for the first year in your life where you just don't care about it, or it's not enough of a priority for you to put money into it. And maybe that's why it ends. But it just never happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being a loser helps.
that definitely does help. Who needs friends, right?
Right.
But look, speaking of height, guys, okay, if I'm 5'6", all right, if I just grow 2 inches, all right, not that way, right?
Okay, I'm with you.
Then I'd be the same height as Miles Morales.
Oh.
Is he only 5'8"?
According to my very quick Google search, yes.
I thought he was taller than that. That's interesting.
He's only he's 17 now, I think, at least the version of Miles that we're talking about.
He's got time to grow.
You've done most of your growing at 17.
But the reason why I bring that up, boys, is because it's catch-up time, and I have been playing some Miles Morales PS4.
Chris is like, stop talking about height and speak about...
Just let's get on from the height, okay? Just Jesus. But yeah, I've been playing Miles Morales on PS4 because I don't have a PS5. Made my peace with it, all right? Let's just move on. But
I've made my peace with it.
Miles Morales PS4, you know what? Great game so far. I'm not very far. I'm maybe 1/5 of the way into that game. But I'm enjoying it. And you know what really strikes me? Is Miles Morales to me was always like, it's a PS5 launch title. And then I'm like, do I really want to play it on PS4? It's fucking great on PS4. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. And I was stupid to think that it would be anything other, because it's basically Spider-Man, right? Amazing Marvel Spider-Man. Which is a great game in its own. Only thing is load times. Like, fuck it, so what? Who cares?
How did you find the load? I'd be interested to know how you found the load times, if I'm being honest, because I have no idea about how long they are on the PS4.
Yeah, fine. I mean, probably on par with what they were for Spider-Man.
Right, that's the weird thing. Like, it's easy to move to the PS5 and see the PS4 as like some relic, but like when it comes to like the load times, probably the exact same load times we've been getting used to for the last 7 years. Yeah, i.e., not that long.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, Spider-Man was never even that long with their load times to begin with. You know what I mean?
But so when you, for example, if you fast travel would you know how long you have to wait between clicking fast travel and being back in the game?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
But it never. Let me put it this way: it's not something that necessarily bothered me. Would it be cool to jump straight into the game and fucking go for it? Yeah, sure. But I don't know. Like, the game still looks fucking crisp. Got great animations. It plays smoothly. I only had one stutter. It was actually a really weird one where I was swinging through the city and the game actually just froze, but the audio kept on playing. And I was like, oh weird. Fuck, has this crashed? And then just kind of like caught up and just carried on. So I don't know what that was about, but just a hiccup. But yeah, I've been playing that. And funnily enough, by playing Miles Morales now on PS4, the reason I got it is because if I get a PS5, it'll automatically upgrade to PS5 because it's, you know, digital download and it's the same version regardless of how you buy it. But what I went to PS5 for was Miles Morales and Demon Souls, right? But now I'm playing Miles Morales on PS4, so that's fine. I'll probably finish it before I would potentially be able to get my hands on a PS5 anyway, right? Which only leaves Demon Souls, and I know that Cyberpunk is coming out next week. I'm not going to be playing Demon Souls for the remainder of this year if I do manage to get a PlayStation 5. Like realistically, yes, if there's a PS5 in my lounge, I'd switch it on and play it, but it wouldn't be my focus. Cyberpunk would be my focus, which I'm definitely playing on my PC. So I've kind of made peace with the fact that I can wait a bit for the PS5 because there's no draw. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
So there we go. That's all I've got for catch up because it's been a bit of a busy, strange week for me. I had a flu shot, fellas, and it gave me a big stonking headache. No,
lovely.
No anti-vaxxers here, but you know I'm all for vaccinations. But it did give me a stonking headache, and that kind of killed me for a bit.
Let's hope that's not the only jab you have in the next 6 to 12 months, depending on how things go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, dude, as soon as that COVID jab comes, I'm going onto a fucking the tube, and I'm just gonna start jerking off.
Bro, like inject that shit into my fucking eyeballs. I'm all over it. Like,
and then I don't know. Means that we can get together and eat some chicken wings.
They developed it very quickly, and I don't think I'll be one to. No, I'm joking. I'll be on that. I'll be on that vaccine as soon as it's out. As soon as it's
stick a microchip in me and send me to Bill Gates. I don't care. Zap 5G through my brain waves and fucking give me the full Monty. I just want to be out and about again.
You know what the best thing is though? Jamie's gonna get this vaccination, the COVID vaccination. And for probably the next 4 months after that, he'll still be stuck in this bedroom.
Yeah, I'm working again. Yeah, sorry.
Well, like the vaccination thing's funny because, like, for me, it's obviously if I got COVID, it's not going to do anything to me, right? It's going to be like a mild case of the flu, but that's not the point, right? My in-laws, my parents are all getting towards ages
you don't want to be a vector of infection, my dude.
Exactly. Yeah. My nan is in her 90s, like, and these are people that I would love to be able to go and see. And then you got all just other people, you know, out there in the world. Like, I don't want to be giving anyone else shit. I'm happy to have a vaccine.
Unless you don't like your grandparents, and then you just get COVID and go smother them with hugs.
That is a possibility if you had really bad grandparents.
You know, probably not. That's a mean thing to say. But
it's a bit strong. Yeah.
It's like that. I think it's been been shown to be a hoax, wasn't it? But when the American settlers gave all the wasn't chicken pox?
Oh, the Native Americans.
Yeah,
they gave them
the blankets with
no, they gave them smallpox. Blankets with smallpox.
Yeah,
or something.
But I think it's
it was like meant to be a gift.
No, well, they gave them blankets as gifts, but they like smothered the blankets in smallpox, and then they.
Wow, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was like on purpose. I thought it was almost like they in general just had a lot of things that they didn't have immunities to. So
there is that too. But I think that particular story was like, nah, this is how we kill
on purpose. All right, okay, I didn't hear it like that version, but shit.
But anyway,
I missed that. I missed that.
Terrifying. If that's true.
Yeah. Didn't do that side quest.
Yeah.
But what have you guys been playing?
Go on, Jamie. What have you been doing?
I've got a couple of things. I just wanted to quickly bring up a game I've brought up a handful of times already, so I'm not going to go into a few components of it. But Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War
Ooh.
I've finally finished the campaign of that game after talking in recent weeks about the multiplayer and the zombies. And I wanted to bring it up because I just think it's a really fascinating game, a fascinating campaign at least, that's not being talked about as much as, not necessarily as much as it should, but at least as much as I thought it would.
In a good way or a bad way?
In both ways. This is another Call of Duty campaign that's yet another example of so near yet so far in many respects. But it's got so many really cool ideas, some of which, Chris, I think would appeal to you after conversations we've had about Call of Duty in the past.
Yeah.
But again, they're just not being talked about that much. Like, it's just, I guess I wanted to give it a shout out because it's got loads of really cool ideas. And I think one example is, and this is why I thought of you, Chris. So do you remember when World War II? Call of Duty World War II, I should say, not the actual.
Yeah, I remember World War II. I was on the front, yeah.
Cast your mind back. So in Call of Duty World War II, there was a mission where you play as a sort of a spy.
The liberation of Paris, yeah. Was it the liberation of Paris? Whatever it was.
It was something like that. You're
in France.
Exactly. Yeah. You're undercover in some kind of embassy, and it had a few cool elements, like you've got a sort of a fake identity, and you have to remember elements of it, and you might get conversation checks and things like that.
Yeah, that was sick, dude. That was my favorite mission in that game.
So there's another one of those missions, and they actually take it a few steps further. So this time, I won't say too much, but you're essentially a mole that a Russian mole working for the US planted within the KGB headquarters.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get access to a certain part of the headquarters. And it's a very similar construct in that it's a big open area. You've actually got a map. You can kind of set waypoints to different rooms. And it's got some elements that are similar, like remembering little bits about your fake story and your backstory and answering questions and conversations. But it's also got things like you can knock people out, like Hitman style, and pick up their bodies and put them in cupboards.
Oh, right.
It's got like Skyrim style lock picking.
Okay.
Like a lock picking minigame for getting through secret areas. It's got vent systems that you can crawl through. It's got terminals and like PCs that you can hack. Really intriguing stuff.
Is this a one-off, or is this like, does it do multiple missions?
Some of the things like the stealth and the ability to like tag enemies and lockpick your way through areas, those crop up a few times.
Okay.
The kind of being a mole behind enemy lines and that kind of wolf in sheep's clothing style stealth is only experienced once for one mission. Okay. But then there's all these kind of cool ideas, and the campaign kind of ends with a bit of a whimper, in my opinion. It's got some sort of Black Ops style trickery that you'd expect, some mindfuckery shit, some of which it works well, some of which doesn't. But then it ends really suddenly. I got the good ending, which apparently is the canonical one, and it was really abrupt, and it felt like, weirdly enough, that was where the shortcomings in sort of development time ended up showing the most. Were in the ending that I got in the final mission that I did. I think if you look at the quote unquote bad endings, which are not canonical, some of them are really fun in a way that like I really almost want to go back and do them, because obviously it's not canon, so they could just do whatever the fuck they wanted and they went there. But man, it's just missed opportunities.
I'm gonna have to watch a YouTube compilation. I don't know what it is about Black Ops Cold War, but when they announced it, I was like, oh, cool, yeah, Cold War, going back to that kind of a continuation from Black Ops. That sounds pretty cool. And then it just completely dipped off of my radar entirely. Just not interested.
I think that happened for a lot of people. Can I give you another example of like the so near yet so far?
Yeah.
So instead of collectibles in this game,
I feel like you're about to like crack out into some kind of like Metallica cover.
So near yet so far. Is that a Metallica song?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a lyric. And anyway, Kara.
Oh, never mind. Maybe I'll break out some Metallica by the end of the podcast. Keep listening, folks. So instead of collectibles, you find what the game refers to as evidence, and they're not as frequent. There's only like a handful of pieces of them, and they're slightly easier to find than regular collectibles as well, assuming you look in the right places.
Yeah.
So there are 2 side missions in the game that are completely optional that become easier if you collect all the bits of evidence attached to them and solve an actual riddle. So there's an evidence board that you can go to and refer to between missions. And
you'll find the Pepe Sylvia one with the red.
It's a little bit Pepe Sylvia, you know.
Yes.
I don't think they've actually got the red string, but it's similar in theory. So you're finding so one example is there's one side mission. I found this weird number code, like a piece of paper. I found a newspaper article, and I found a signal broadcasting sheet. I found all three of those pieces of evidence in 3 separate side missions. I then go to this evidence board and you cross-reference yourself, not the game, you cross-reference these pieces of evidence to solve another riddle. In this case, I was looking for a username and password. And I had to look at the newspaper article and realize that the first letter of every sentence spelled out a word. Ooh. And then there was this thing where there's a number code and one of the numbers is in a sequence so you can guess the next one, but one of them isn't. So you have 2 of the 4 numbers you're looking for. Then the broadcasting sheet has a load of 4 number sequences, but multiple of them are possible. So you have to take the words from the sequence and cross-reference them with a newspaper. You end up getting it, and you put it in, and it's you can do the side mission either way, but it means the side mission is easier, or the chances of it going wrong are lessened if you do this beforehand.
So is it this door is unlocked and it gives you a different path or whatever?
I never saw what happens if you don't do the puzzles, but it's implied that things can go wrong if you don't do them. But, and this is Black Ops Cold War in a nutshell, one of those side missions is literally set on one of the multiplayer maps, and it's you just running from one building to one building to one building, shooting enemies, kill one dude at the end, and then exfil. And exfilling itself is a mechanic from Zombies. So it's they had these ideas and almost didn't have either the time or the resources to make cool shit out of it.
I see.
And there are only there are only 2 of those side missions in the whole game, and they are both run through an area, get to the end, kill a guy, then run back to the beginning.
So a lot of build up and not much of a payoff then.
Not much of a payoff, and that's the kind of the whole story. I will say that the twist is obvious, but the way they handle it is cool.
Okay.
So it's kind of a shame, really, because it sounds like they had a lot of good ideas, but they didn't have the time or the to put it into practice. I mean, it kind of makes you wonder what could have been, I suppose.
Yeah, that was the whole story about this game, right? Was that this was Sledgehammer and Raven working together. Activision stepped in because Sledgehammer and Raven were clashing. Sledgehammer got demoted. Treyarch got brought in. Raven did the campaign in theory, and Treyarch did the multiplayer, but then it became a Black Ops game. There's even been news this week where assets referring to the game as Black Ops 5 have been found inside the game.
Oh, wow.
So clearly things were chopping and changing the whole way up to release.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I don't know. It's it's almost like Call of Duty is in this really weird position, right? Because Black Ops 4 obviously never kind of came to fruition. They're just battle royale, and then Black Ops 5 now / Cold War not really going well, but then Modern Warfare was really successful, and obviously spun off into Warzone, which itself is really successful. It's what's next year going to be? It's going to be the next Modern Warfare or what?
I guess so. Because the other thing is, you say, you're right, Warzone was so successful, but that's also almost a blessing and a curse, because Modern Warfare and Warzone were so successful that they can't ditch Warzone going into Black Ops Cold War, but also they can't transfer it onto Treyarch's engine. So Warzone has to continue in its own right, which is meant by an extension that Modern Warfare has to continue in its own right, because that's where it's launched. So now they're simultaneously supporting, if you think about it, 3 games at once, which is a first for Call of Duty. Yeah. And I doubt they mind that much because of the amount of money they're probably printing through Warzone, but it's fascinating. And I think it gets simpler next year if Modern Warfare 2 is next. But then you get into the weird thing of the point of Modern Warfare was that it was almost a prequel that rebooted the ideas only to then confirm that a lot of stuff was actually the same. So Modern Warfare 2, if it's a direct sequel, will be retracing the steps, or at least beginning to retrace the steps, of the original Modern Warfare from 2007. With the added wrinkle that there are Modern Warfare, without being too much spoilers, there are Modern Warfare references and characters in Black Ops Cold War, despite the fact that Black Ops Cold War is confirmed to be in the same canon as the original Black Ops games, because it also confirms the appearance of Woods and Mason. So it's is Black Ops Cold War being made in the old canon and Modern Warfare is being made in the new canon simultaneously? Yeah, or does Call of Duty also have parallel universes? We'll never know.
It's almost one of those things where the writers are in the room and they're like, I've got a good idea. And then someone else says, yeah, but how does it fit? And then some overarching dude says, It doesn't matter. We'll leave that for the next team to figure out. And it's just kind of like accumulated. And now
it's almost like comic books, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like they want to do something, so they do it, and then they worry about making it fit later. Oh, it was a slightly, it was a wrong person. The name was right, but it was a different dimension. And you're like, oh my God, you guys have gone absolutely insane. I'll tell you what, though, for me, it's going to be, as every year, it's going to be on my Christmas list. I'll be.
It's a solid Christmas game.
Fair.
Yeah. I'll also just quickly say that I have started playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Which I'll probably talk about more in I maybe generous, but a couple of weeks. I don't know.
Yeah, fair.
Because it feels like I haven't done much of it. The in-game time says 9 hours, but it's kind of flown by. Not because I'm necessarily loving it. I've actually got a huge amount of issues with the game, more than I thought I would, based on my time with Odyssey. But
So would you say at this point in that like 9 hour time frame, would you prefer Odyssey over Valhalla?
Probably. Okay. Odyssey came out 2 years ago, and I know a lot can change in 2 years in terms of how you feel about open worlds and RPGs and stuff like that. Even so much as remembering like Odyssey came up before Red Dead 2, which feels like a weird comparison, but like that did a lot to adjust our expectations for open worlds. Yeah. And there are elements of Valhalla that like I worry that combat feels antiquated by today's standards. I think that the free running and the parkour might be the worst it's ever been.
Wow.
I don't know. I think it's kind of like a weirdly buggy, poorly put together game that to play back to back with Miles Morales, which is comparatively so polished and is so good at onboarding players, to go into Valhalla after that was kind of like, this feels like the edges haven't been,
smoothed over,
sanded down and smoothed over. Yeah.
Man,
so
there is a weird thing in Valhalla that it feels like they've almost taken for granted the stuff that they've been doing for years, and they just assume they don't need to look at it because they've just been doing it forever, and they've kind of fallen down a little bit. Yeah, which I thought was odd because some of those elements I took for granted in Assassin's Creed game. Like I haven't played much of Valhalla either, but they just didn't seem to work that well, which is weird because you're like, how have you've been doing this forever? How have you got that wrong, or how have you messed up on that, or how's that buggy? Like what? But
yeah, especially because this was also a year off. Like this was, they took another year off. They did the thing they've only done once before, and it produced a dramatically different game. And yet the result of this year off was a similar game that seems buggier.
Like the weird thing with Valhalla, because Valhalla is gorgeous. Like the some of that game and the environment and that I think is incredible, and I like looking at. But I need to play more of it as well. But yeah, a lot of the nitty gritty stuff doesn't feel great.
But don't you think it's gorgeous and in the same way that Odyssey was 2 years before it?
Yes, but different. And I don't think the two will be comparable in that sense. Like, I know what you mean. Odyssey looked fantastic.
Yeah.
But I think, like walking through the snow on top of mountains and then looking at like the northern lights and seeing those, the and everything, and like the pop in and draw distances look better in Valhalla to me.
Did you make it to England in your time with Valhalla, Jonesy?
I'm still like tooling around. I've been doing all sorts of side quests and trudging around.
You know what I love? It's the
more scenery.
The most Jonesy scenario ever, where he buys Assassin's Creed Valhalla, he buys Watch Dogs Legion, then he buys a PS5, and then goes Miles Morales and Demon Souls, and like. I just love it.
I will say, in Josie's defense, we were gifted that copy of Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
That's fair.
I won't name who it was because if I remember rightly, I don't think they wanted a shout out in the podcast, but they know who they are.
Yeah.
I'm purposely not playing Valhalla yet because I'm really near to finishing Watch Dogs Legion, so I wanted to finish that completely and then start on Valhalla.
And
it's going to be difficult.
And then get on to Death Stranding, and then. But
no, Cyberpunk comes out. So then the problem is Cyberpunk
finished Bioshock. No,
I'm not touching any of these games.
I've got so many games on the go at the moment. I've got like Jedi Fallen Order, Miles Morales. I've got loads. It's ridiculous.
Sekiro.
that game is never getting finished. I was meant to stream that this week, but
you were, yeah.
Yeah, but just
life finds a way.
Life finds a way. Maybe tonight. Or maybe tomorrow. Who knows?
Maybe tomorrow.
I'll tell you what, though. I am dreading trying to play Valhalla and Cyberpunk simultaneously. That sounds like an absolute nightmare.
I think what you're going to find, Jamie, is you're going to get into Cyberpunk and you go, Valhalla who?
Maybe. We will know when, as people are listening to this, we will know in less than a week.
Oh, fuck it. Can you believe it?
No.
It's what is it? Oh, it's a week today, but less than 6 days by the time people listening to this, if they're listening on the day it drops.
That's madness.
We're going to have an interesting time sort of scheduling next week's podcast because we got the Game Awards on Thursday evening and Cyberpunk itself on the Thursday. So it might have to be...
Yeah, I told you I'm not here next week. I'm Cyberpunking it.
Wait, you're not doing the podcast?
I don't know.
Why would you not record? I couldn't tell if that was a joke or not because I was like, yeah, I mean, it's believable. It's Cyberpunk. I know. I just imagined us doing this sort of like bleary-eyed Friday morning podcast where we'd all had like 2 hours sleep because we'd not only watched the entirety of the Game Awards but also played 12 hours of Cyberpunk in the previous 14.
What's weird is part of me is like, what? This is going to be a mess. Like Game Awards, Cyberpunk. I can't do both. But actually, the idea of already having a few hours into Cyberpunk, maybe driving around and stuff, seeing that, having the Game Awards on to listen to and to watch about the corner of my eye while I'm playing Cyberpunk actually sounds like a really good way to do it.
Gonna get some pizzas in, stock up on Monster.
Cool.
Like if there was ever an equivalent of doing something that I would do with you dudes, but I'm going to be doing it on my own, it's going to happen on Thursday next week.
Yeah, man, it'd be cool.
I know. I'm looking forward to when we first touch base, whether that's on or off a podcast, because I still remember. It sounds a little bit embarrassing with hindsight, but obviously everyone was very excited for Fallout 4. Like everyone was. It doesn't matter what you think about it now. You were probably excited.
Hey, I still maintain I'm happy that it was my game of the year that year. I like it. Yeah. It's a good game. Sorry, it is a good game.
Like I remember the anticipation before that game came out, and it was palpable. You could feel it in the air.
Yeah.
So I remember I had the day it came off.
Phil Collins.
The day it came out off. Yeah, the day it came out off. And I started playing at midnight, and then I played like a handful of hours that morning, but I came in because we were going to film a thing on it. Yeah. And I remember really loving like coming into the office at lunchtime, no work to do, obviously, because I was technically on holiday, and just sitting at the back, and we were all talking about our first, 2, 3, 4 hours of Fallout. And
dude.
We were all very excited at the time, as I'm sure we will be next week.
Fucking game. So I still rate it very highly. And I remember that actually, Jamie, because you sent us a late night video.
Please elaborate before anyone gets any ideas.
Basically, what Jamie did is he
actually no, don't elaborate. I've remembered the video.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
We're going to get into it now. You slaughtered a bunch of people in the game and chopped their limbs off and arranged their limbs to spell out ATG.
Yeah,
so
I sure did.
That's dedication for you right there.
Do you know what? Like, I don't know what the dismemberment system in Cyberpunk is like, but if I can't do the same, then I should be
that's a test.
Disappointed.
Although the problem is you're gonna have to do SS, and you might get into a bit of trouble. I don't think there's any way that
spell
you
out
can
SuperShow.
Yeah, I don't
entirety.
think you can arrange limbs in any way to say SS that would not get you into trouble.
True.
Yeah, it's arranging limbs to say that is not going to be good.
No, and I want to make it clear now. Anyone who's listening to this and getting any ideas, please don't go into any game and start cutting off limbs and rearranging them to make SS tributes because it could get us all in trouble.
Why don't we just say you could do ATG forever EVA? There you go. More limbs, but a lot safer.
Indeed,
I suppose so.
Yeah. All right, go on, Josie. What have you been playing?
I've been playing a few games actually. I'll talk Miles Morales first. I'll talk Miles Morales first. I finished Miles Morales.
Oh, quality,
which is not that difficult because it is a rather short game. Yeah. Well, and this is the thing. Miles Morales is a very nice game. It's very well polished. It plays very nicely. But I do have a few sort of like gripes with it, and I'd be interested to know if Jamie, you feel the same, and Chris, what you think as well.
Well,
because I was expecting this to be the sort of the first game I played on PlayStation 5. I know it's not a full title, it's not full price, but it is still very expensive, right? So I was expecting maybe more of a full game than what we've actually got.
Okay,
my sort of criticisms of it at this point are it's much too similar to Spider-Man in like mechanics, what you're doing, how the world works. It feels too samey. Like it doesn't feel like a sequel. It feels like a DLC.
Yeah.
And it's too expensive to me. And it is a next gen game, or a now current gen game. In a sense, that I wanted it to feel more different, and adding in some venom punches and some extra like bio energy powers for me was not enough. So I played that game feeling a bit not let down, but maybe a little bit let down.
I get what you're saying. Like, it definitely does feel, maybe DLC is too harsh, but it definitely feels like an expansion pack rather than a fully fledged title. I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, and I'm not personally hurt about the pricing of it, but I completely understand it.
I think it seems like what they've done is they've rushed out and for good reason. They've rushed out a game that's going to look incredible and play really well on the PlayStation 5 and be something that everyone can buy and get their teeth into. And that's exactly what everyone has done who's got a PlayStation. But I think it feels a little cheeky to me now in how they've done it, because it feels more like they've just taken the original Spider-Man and they've crafted this game from that game, and yeah, it just, I don't know, it feels a little odd. I think, Jamie, you were saying the other day that someone said on their on a New Game Plus they managed to do the whole run through in like 3 hours of the story. Was it from
New Game Plus?
They skipped everything.
New Game Plus skipping cutscenes. Yeah, they did it in just over 3 hours.
That is kind of mental.
Which I mean, that's not fair to the game, because there's a lot more in that game. There's a lot of side missions, and if you're doing New Game Plus, you don't need to do them because you already leveled up loads of stuff.
Yeah.
But I felt it in my first run through as well, in that the rate at which you get through that story, the rate at which ideas are introduced, the rate at which characters develop is so like OTT. I can see why people quite like that, because I actually didn't like some of the elements in the original Spider-Man game in how they worked with characters, and they had side bosses and things. I felt it was a little messy. I genuinely really enjoyed the game, but it just felt a little messy and maybe a little bit too comic booky. I preferred how Arkham
too
did
comic
it
booky.
with
That's
that's it. Like, no, but I think you can be like, you can go too far down the route of Rhino smashing up this. Yeah, but I don't think you need to necessarily take all those elements of comic books. There's some really goddamn messy elements from comic books that I don't think you should recreate. Like, so the way that Arkham Knight did it with the side characters, I quite liked. I liked the fact you had these different threads that you could say, I'm now going to follow this thread, I'm going to follow this way, this enemy, and you had a whole load of interactions, and then you had boss fights. I quite liked that, but I don't know why. But Spider-Man felt a bit more messy. This didn't have any of that. This was much more directional, and it was maybe woven together better, but in a weird way because of how quickly they had to give you new stuff. I don't want to this is hard to talk about spoilers. There was some elements of the game where you sort of, like Miles Morales obviously becomes Spider-Man, and it's like, wow, he's Spider-Man. It very quickly turns out that actually he's not sort of standout in his circle at all. If anything, he was quite late to the super party, let's put it that way.
I don't know if I agree with that assertion.
But there's a few things that I think we will talk about after, Jamie, that I don't want to say because I know Chris isn't there.
But don't
yet,
you think that, Jonesy, like, we've said it on this podcast before that we're getting annoyed with games just padding out.
Yes, for needlessly padding stuff.
Do you not think that, like, hey, Miles Morales is kind of a distillation of what Spider-Man was, cutting out, like, trimming all the fat, getting rid of all the stuff, keeping the pace fucking going. Like, yeah, okay, it's not a full price, but it's not half the price of Spider-Man. But regardless of that, it's still like, it's a very streamlined experience. I for one am quite happy that it's the length it is. I've just been looking on how long to beat, right? So they've got it as main story for Miles Morales is 7 hours, which is not long at all. Mm-hmm. So doable in a day, which I can appreciate.
Wow,
especially because I have been squirrel gaming Miles Morales like an hour at a time. So I can appreciate that. Main story on original Spider-Man on PS4 was 16 and a half hours. Now, I remember there was a point where I was playing Spider-Man And I was just thinking to myself, I'm ready for this game to finish. Right?
Fair enough. I never felt that with the original one.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was about the right for length.
But then again, I haven't beaten Miles Morales yet. So it might come to, I finish it in 7-8 hours, whatever it may be. And I might be like, oh, I could have done with a few more hours of that. I don't know.
For what it's worth, the rate I did sort of other stuff, my playtime when I rolled credits on Miles Morales was about 12 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So what? It's a little bit different with Miles Morales because in order to platinum it, you have to complete New Game Plus as well as completing the game. But I platinumed the original Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
And it felt like it took me the right length. I had a decent amount of stuff still to do when I'd finished the story. There was a lot to do. It was the rate at which you unlock like the suits and the add-ons and all that sort of stuff felt really good. This was like I'd finished every side quest. I'd done absolutely everything in the game, and then I finished the story, and I was like, oh, okay, that seemed quite quick. I knew that it wasn't a full game. I think they said it was like a 3/4 length of a game sort of size. It didn't feel like that.
It seems to be like half, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it was the original Spider-Man was 2.5 times the length of this, and not only that, this is cheaper, like we said. I think you said it was 60 quid for the original, and this is 50, so it's a bit different. And it's on a next gen, so its development time is going to be up because maybe they've got to deal with other stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh on it, but I love the characters. I thought a lot of what they did was really good. But the fact that it just felt the same, it felt like I was almost playing, an expansion from Spider-Man, and it felt like a very pricey expansion.
I'm going to take the opportunity now to largely disagree with almost everything you said in terms of how I felt about it. With all due respect, like
I wanted more. from.
Do you want to know why I didn't think it felt like DLC?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because Spider-Man fucking had DLC, and this was a million times bigger and better than anything they made for it.
But I didn't pay 50 quid for any of the DLC that came out.
I paid 50
I paid for the season pass.
I paid 50 quid for Spider-Man Miles Morales, which took me 12 hours to complete, and it was a brand new standalone expansion. Yes, set inside the same city, but it looked completely different. It felt completely different. I thought the story and the characters and the writing and the cutscenes were far better and more interesting than anything in the original Spider-Man, largely because I didn't have to spend 16 hours pretending to not know who Dr. Otto Octavius was.
The problem with that is like that's fair enough. If I'd have spent 50 quid on a DLC for Spider-Man and they'd have given me this, I would have been really happy. So I'm not suggesting that it was standard.
This didn't feel like DLC. This felt like a new game to me. Not a full-sized one. One that expands upon what was there originally. But I think you're doing this game dirty for some reason. I think this is better than Spider-Man in so many ways.
Better than Spider-Man. That's interesting.
I legitimately think it's better than Spider-Man.
It looks much nicer. It looks a lot nicer than Spider-Man. I'll give you that. But the graphical improvements, and as Jamie said, some of the way they handle the story are improvements. But generally, most of the elements,
not just the way they handle the story, but the story.
Well, I don't know, because I would say the story from Spider-Man is fine. I mean, there's a lot of like ridiculousness with, like you said, you know from the second you talk to him that Otto Octavius is going to be Doc Ock, and so there's this weird kind of, oh, is it going to happen? It's like, you're just waiting for it. Yeah. But if they'd have dealt with that story in a better way, I don't have any issue with that story. This story to me felt more stupid.
God, here I am thinking that I actually liked the Spider-Man story.
I thought it was fine, but I agree with Jamie that there was a lot of stuff that felt kind of dragged
the
out.
Elements that were problematic.
This story's kind of dumb. Like if you like it, I can't. Some of the characters and the way they deal with stuff in this are kind of stupid.
Remember Mr. Negative and what his motives were, and tell me this is any dumber.
Yeah, fair enough.
If anything, the arguments you can make for the Spider-Man are the exact same, except the characters in Spider-Man for some reason waited until they were in their 40s to do something about it. Because they're all fucking old men.
It's not the reasons in this that they do it; it's the fact that they can, and to the degree they do, that I was like,
don't get me wrong. You have to sort of take your thinking cap off for a second to imagine some of the leaps that some of the characters make to go from their human to their alter egos. But I think you had to do that with Dr. Octavius as well. Like, when you remember that by the end of that game, Dr. Octavius is the mastermind of everything, has every single one of those villains from Scorpion to Vulture to Rhino under his thumb, has remade all their suits for them and overseen their escape from the rock, blah, 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 blah. Like, the first one asked you to take so many leaps in a and it also asked you to not know who was behind it all. Like, I still remember the moment where you've got the shot of Pete. You can hear Doc Ock coming up beside the building. Yeah, and it's like, how? Oh, you get a voicemail from Dr. Otto Octavius in the first 30 seconds of the game. Like, and then to brush Dr. Negative aside, Mr. Negative aside, the second he becomes Doc Ock, because that's more interesting. I just thought, fuck that. I thought that Spider-Man Miles Morales does a better job of establishing the villain, their motives, their relationship to the protagonist, and how their arc changes, while also doing a better job than they did with the Norman Osborn character in Spider-Man, of having a secondary antagonist who, for many reasons, one of which is actually, ironically, the performance from Troy Baker, is again far more interesting, far more engaging, far more darkly funny than anything the first Spider-Man tried to do. Yeah. I think the combat hugely benefits from the Venom system. I think Miles Morales is a better Spider-Man than Peter Parker. I like the feel of the world and its root in Harlem, and even just the wintry vibe that everything happening in Miles Morales gives that city. It feels far less sort of anemic than compared to the original Spider. I liked almost everything about what Miles Morales does compared to the original. I think the prospects for Spider-Man 2 are better off for Miles Morales' existence.
Yeah, I agree with like everything you've said. I don't disagree with any of that. But I think when I played this game, there were so many good things that I liked about that it left me thinking almost like I would love to have played Spider-Man 2 and it be Miles Morales and it be a fully fledged game. And if you said to me this wasn't a fully fledged game, which I already knew, but it's 3/4 of a fully fledged game, I'm like, no, it isn't. It's 1/3 of a fully fledged game. And my what I was expecting versus what I got. So for the acting, Miles Morales is wicked. I love all those characters. I love the environment, as you've said. The guy, the robot, what's the company called?
Roxxon.
Roxxon. Yeah. The whole Roxxon thing is fine. Some of it is a bit derivative of what happened in Spider-Man, but that's fine. You know, it's going to happen. But then it's when you get down to like how quickly they introduce the villain stuff, how limited the villain stuff is. There's a lot of like they've stolen things straight out the first one because they obviously didn't have any ideas, or not any ideas. They wanted to add stuff in, and they were like, let's just reuse this, let's reuse that. Yeah. All the prisoners from the raft just get shoved back in. Yeah. Rhino just gets shoved back in.
Only
they do.
Only Rhino does.
No, the prisoners from the raft get shoved back in. The little orange jumpsuited men who pop up randomly around the town. It's exactly.
Oh yeah, but they still come up. They still created two completely new factions. Yeah, that you spend most of the game fighting.
Yeah, sure, but I'm saying they've just shoved in some elements from Spider-Man. Like it seemed like it seemed a little odd as to why bother when they could have just created a new.
Probably
it's fine.
Probably because Spider-Man 2 is still being made, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were limited as to what they could draw from in terms of completely new things. Because there was also the element of and I said this like last week or the week before, the whole Peter Parker going on holiday angle seemed to me like and this is a negative, a weird excuse to kind of frame the entire events of Spider-Man Miles Morales as like a weird excursion that doesn't matter that much and doesn't leave too many elements to be carried over into Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Almost because like they don't want to have too many balls to juggle. Like I'm not going to spoil the way Miles Morales ended, but they didn't want loose threads. They wanted Peter Parker to come back from holiday and be like, "Oh, looks like everything's how I left it. What did you get up to in the last month?" And they kind of achieved that.
That element is mental because you spend so much, you do so much, and so there's so much could have gone terribly wrong, and there are so many. To be fair, you have the same problem with Spider-Man in general. Like, why don't the Avengers come and help you? Like, world-ending stuff, and they're on holiday.
Because the Avengers were too busy starring in their mediocre game. You know what I loved about Miles Morales? Is they basically redid the bridge scene from Avengers, but they just did it right.
Oh, yeah. That was, yeah. But see, okay, but this is my main issue with it, and maybe this is a bad issue. if Spider-Man 2 comes out for 70 quid and is what we would expect because let's say it's a generation on from the original game.
Yeah.
Right? Look at how generational games go on into a sequel, and it feels like a proper full second game, whoever it's got as the main character. It will be so much more than Miles Morales's. And it's going to be 20 and it's going to be 20 quid more.
I don't know if
just
it
look
will.
at the Look at the gadget wheel. Look at hold on, stop. So wait a minute. Look at like the gadget wheel. If you want. Look
that
at the
was the
skill
best
tree.
change they ever made. Because
look
they
at the skill tree.
They got rid of all the gadgets no one ever fucking used.
They just got rid of gadgets because it meant that there was less to do. And
No,
there was less to make. They got the skill tree is limited. Gadgets. I used all of them all the time. They've limited what they've done.
That's a lie.
I did. No, I absolutely did.
I forgot. Miles Morales only has 4 gadgets in it. I forgot about one of them until after I'd finished the game. I was like, I never even know this one.
Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it.
That's legitimately true. That's legitimately true. What I just said, by the way.
I enjoyed it. I really liked it. I wanted more of it. If that's the best criticism ever, right?
I think Spider-Man 2. Yeah.
I paid 2/3 of the price of a game that was 1/3 of the game that it should have.
I disagree.
That for me is my biggest criticism.
I feel like I paid 2/3 of the price for 2/3 of a game, but those 2/3 were of better quality than the whole of the one before, and that's why it didn't matter to me.
Fair enough.
Wow.
It leaves me wanting more.
I think you look at the jump from Spider-Man to Miles Morales in terms of the way the world has changed, the way the graphic improvements have made, the way that combat has changed, the way that swing has changed, blah, 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 blah. Like if you're expecting, obviously Spider-Man 2 will have more license to do stuff in terms of bringing new characters. Some of that stuff has already been teased and hinted. I won't go into who or where or why. But if you think that there's going to be that much of a step up, I just don't see it happening. I think Spider-Man 2 will be longer and more fleshed out, and you'll unlock things like suits and upgrade the skill tree at a slower clip as a result. But like, what are you expecting from Spider-Man 2? Like,
you're
criticizing Miles Morales. You're criticizing Miles Morales for being a sequel. Like, what do you want from the swinging and the combat to be?
They need to innovate more from how they've innovated from this. Because when you boil it down, what you're doing mostly in this game is exactly what you did in Spider-Man, and it feels no different.
What do you want Spider-Man 2 to do?
Innovate. It needs to do more. It needs to do better on what.
Look, Jamie, just do what you're doing, but just do it better, okay?
Well, that's what we always want from sequels, right? We don't want them to be the same.
But I thought,
so Chris, when you get to the end of Miles Morales, I bet you will have felt in some sense similar to I did in, wow, a lot of these sneaking around stealth takedown sections feel exactly the same as they did in Spider-Man. And that's fine insofar as that's what that some of that stuff is okay. But when you if you spend a whole game in Spider-Man 2 doing it, and it's the same as Miles Morales, it's identical to Spider-Man. Like, it's no different. There are no additional moves. There are no additional things you can do. They've added in like one gadget, which is a bit random. Like Jamie said, the combat's been improved. The combat's marginally been improved by adding in a kind of, you can mash this button to get around nearly anything you want at any point, which is that you can super punch anyone and it's take out any enemy.
Doing a disservice to. Awesome. I think you're focusing too much on things that are similar and not enough on things that are different. So
the difference is the graphical improvements and the voice acting.
The difference is it's an entire new story.
There's a tone to it. There's the character to it. It's how they've increased the clip of
story stuff. Story stuff's always going to be different.
Yeah, sure.
Story stuff is always going to have to be. But different.
Even the fact
you can't just do the same story.
Miles Morales as a character as opposed to Peter Parker as a character,
he's better.
More so than on face value, the way that he plays and everything, it is different. Anyway,
but so one problem they are going to have, I will briefly say, one problem they're going to have is going back to Peter Parker now after you've played as Miles Morales will, for me, feel like a step in the wrong direction.
Every time Peter Parker calls you in that game, I'm like, who the fuck is this fucking weirdo? Like,
Miles is so much better. Like, he's better.
I have cracked the case though. I know what Jonesy feels this way.
Oh yeah.
Why?
He's racist.
Oh. Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
Book shut, put it to bed.
But anyway, so yeah, I kind of came out of it feeling a bit like that. But anyway,
we'll have to come back to this for Spider-Man 2. It's going to be fascinating.
Essay, how are you getting on with Demon Souls?
This will be brief. I've played it a couple more times. It is so bloody hard. Like, do you know what? But it's not the game; it's me. Because
so you'd almost say it's a Souls game.
Yes, but it's so good. Like, it makes you want to play more. Which is odd. It's odd. I've never had that before. I'm like, I keep dying for stupid reasons, like falling off a ledge. I felt falling off a ledge so many times. Like there's a hole and you fall down it, and then you play it again and someone pokes you off of a different ledge and you're like, for fuck's sake. But it looks great. It feels fantastic.
Can I tell you why? Can I tell you what the secret source of this is? And
go on.
And if you listen to what I say and you react to it with your immediate reaction, that's perfectly fair, but it would be a wrong reaction, okay? Souls games are like this because they are never unfair. So the knee-jerk reaction to this would be like,
that's bullshit
unfair, because they just had a dude hiding behind a wall that as soon as I walk over a bridge, he pokes me with a stick and I fall off. And it's like, well, yes, but it's not unfair in the sense that the game signposts everything that you need to know. It's saying, don't be a Jonesy and barrel through the level.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
The reason why...
Take your time.
Yeah. The reason why people can die over and over again on Demon's Souls and still have this kind of sadistic enjoyment to it is because nothing in the game is unfair. Everything fits for the world, and you should know going into each and every single encounter what is required of you. And more often than not, obviously there are some exceptions, but more often than not, you dying is your own fault.
Which I can't remember the name of the game. What's the game coming out where it's like you do the same run again and again and again, and it replays the time, and you've got to take out certain people. Deathloop.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like that. Like everything happens in exactly the same way every time.
Yeah.
And once you've got to a certain point, you know what enemies are coming out, you know what weapons you should be using, and it's an incremental improvement on how you did the time before. And that's the thing I'm starting to appreciate, is that I know there's a guy coming there. I know to put my shield away because he's got a shield and I can smash him up if you go two-handed. Like, I know that I need to do this. I know that I need to do that. The problem I have is patience, because I start to get frustrated and then I try and run through and barrel through the level. Like the first time I climbed down a ladder and I had full health and I was feeling really well and I was in the dungeon area or whatever it's called, the mines or whatever. And you get to the bottom of the ladder and like 4 dudes just set upon you. And you're like, shouldn't have gone down the fucking ladder. And then you've got to go back and do the whole thing again. And you're like, And then I tried to run through the next time and a guy that I've killed 20 times kills me. And you're just like, it's separating that. And
that's a big problem in Sekiro. I remember I used to I'd struggle with the boss, struggle after multiple hours, eventually beat them. And you're like, fucking, I'm king of the world. You go and the very next low level peon just pokes you with the bread knife and you die and you're like, well, fuck me, I'm terrible at this game. But it's because you get cocky about it and you don't play the game the way it needs to be played. It happens all the time.
But talking about incremental improvements, I've also started playing for the very first time Formula 1 2020 with Steph of Technovo, who's streaming that over on his channel. We're going to be playing some more, I think, on Tuesday or Wednesday. I think, Jamie, you're going to hop in for that as well. I've never played a Formula 1 game before and actually quite enjoyed it. And I've been playing a bit more. I've been practicing because I suck.
Nice, because I believe Steph's pretty good at it, right?
Steph is very good. I think he won 3 of the 4 races that we did. I think I didn't finish 2 and I came last in 2. So I'm getting better.
I like it. Cool.
But I also don't really know much about Formula 1. So even things like overtaking someone when you're not allowed to overtake them and then getting told you've got to give back that position or you're going to get a time penalty. I'm like, what? What do you mean? This is not a Need for Speed game.
Yeah.
I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm liking hitting the apexes and getting better at that. And
So Jamie, you're gonna crack in on that as well, yeah?
With any luck, we'll see how the week goes, but I intend to.
Nice. Okay.
And I'll be shit as well. Jonesy might not finish last.
we'll be 20 and 19.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, well, let's move on to the rest of the news then, shall we? Because Nvidia have announced and released the RTX 3060 Ti, which so far is their cheapest 3000 series graphics card.
It was the 2nd of December, right? It came out on the 2nd
of December. So by the time you're hearing this, 2 days ago. And surprise, surprise, the card sold out pretty much immediately. And the strange thing is, I remember reading a report saying that they had more stock of this 3060 Ti than they had of the 3070, 3080, and 3090 combined, which would make sense, right? Because this is the entry level, it's the crowd pleaser. That's where you go. Now,
it's cheap as chips, mate.
Yeah, the Founders Edition is £369, which is just a smidge over a PS5 digital edition. But this card is touted to outperform a 2080 Super and completely trounces a 1080 Ti. Now that is, for its price, that is fucking mental.
It's not just mental, Chris, it's depressing.
Yeah, it is depressing. Jamie, what graphics card do you have again?
We don't need to talk about it.
Okay.
Right. Hey mate, don't you worry. I've got a 101070. You're doing absolutely.
I've got a 2080 Super.
2080 Super and a £370 card. Outperform. Fucking hell. It's mental. But
it's weird. Do you know what's weird about this is it's a great thing. It's brilliant for people who want to get better graphics cards. But I genuinely feel sad for people, or sad's the wrong word. But I feel for people, empathize with people that spent a lot of money on 2080 Ti, whatever, a year ago, 18 months ago, and now they've done
10 months ago.
10 months ago. It seems like a bit of a dick move.
Yes and no, though, because I mean, it's just the nature of the game, right? Like, things are going to come out, they're going to be faster, because you're not going to release something that's not as fast. So it's always going to be faster. And the idea is that it should always be cheaper, because technology gets cheaper and cheaper to implement. So, like, even if it's 10 months, like you say to yourself, okay, but you got 10 months of almost the apex of gaming, and it's not like it's a slouch. It's not like you're going to struggle with Cyberpunk.
No.
Sure.
And like I as the person who bought and shit only 10 months ago and now looks at this and says it's a little bit depressing. I kind of agree with Chris. It's like, it feels like the nature of the beast. It's the way that technology goes. We've all been screwed over like this at some point or another. It's tough when you don't know when it's going to come. Some people if you buy an iPhone in August, you're shooting yourself in the foot. This is less of that situation.
To be fair, it's the same with a lot of other industries. And to be fair,
but the thing you've got to remember, and I think this goes to anyone with any 20 series or even 10 series card, is like new stuff coming out sort of moves the goalposts a little bit and maybe gives developers something else to aim for, something else to optimize for, but it doesn't necessarily make anything you've got at the moment any more redundant or any less powerful. And like you said, you mentioned Cyberpunk there, Chris. Like, we're all still going to be playing Cyberpunk. It's going to look good for all of us.
Oh, dude, you're going to be playing Cyberpunk on a maxed out setting if you play it on your PC, which you won't because you're a madman.
Depends. I think it depends about ray tracing. I think Cyberpunk will be PC for me.
Oh yes, Jay.
It just makes sense, and I'll be honest. I'm not trying to shame anyone who is playing on console and stuff like that. Until we know more about the nature of the PS5 and the Series X patches, when they're going to be delivered, and what they're going to do to that game, I'm nervous about visuals and performance, even in backwards compatibility mode on home consoles. So why not just pull the trigger on I bought Skyrim like 50 times by the time it had been out for 10 years. How do we know Cyberpunk won't be the same?
Yeah.
Like I own The Witcher 3, their last game, on 3 consoles as well.
Yeah.
Like, so can I give you why not get off on the right foot, and maybe I'll buy a console version down the line, or maybe I won't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can I give you the quick the Cyberpunk lowdown, because I pulled up this stats. So Jamie, you will be able to play on Ultra with your 2080.
Is that ray tracing Ultra?
No, that's normal. That's no ray tracing. And
I'll be at 1440p, by the way.
So at 1440p, you'd smash it out of the park with Ultra settings. If you wanted to go to ray tracing, then you would be fine on 1080. But 1440, they suggest an RTX 3070 if you want ray tracing.
Yeah, I think I'll do 1440 max, no ray tracing, probably. Unless the ray tracing is like unbelievably legit, then I'll knock it down to 1080. Probably.
Well, there's a lot of neon going on in that game. You know what's kind of you know what's stressing me out about Cyberpunk, fellas?
Go on.
I don't know. I don't know which starting path I'm going to go with. It's actually stressing me out.
I've kind of changed my mind a little as well. I thought I was quite easy.
Yeah, because you initially were going corpo.
And now I'm not sure. Now I might go Street Kid. I don't know.
So it's Corpo, Street Kid, and Nomad?
Yeah. So I was going to go Street Kid, but then they had, from the gameplay of the PS5 version, they had some of that Nomad intro, and that kind of piqued my interest. I'm not going to lie.
Someone tweeted about saying that Nomad sounds more and more interesting because one thing it will give you is the ability to start outside of Night City and kind of be introduced to Night City as an outsider, which will be quite a nice way to be introduced to it as a gamer.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that's a really good point. I quite like the idea of that as well.
Yeah. It is appealing. Plus, I think Chris is kind of what you were saying. Every time they show snippets of things happening outside of Night City, maybe just because it's an environment we didn't expect to see in that game.
Yeah.
But it's always eye-catching for some reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm going to say? What we need to do, start 3 different games.
I mean,
each different path.
I'm probably the least invested in kind of, I'm more interested in where that stuff goes than how it starts. So I'm willing to take whatever's considered the short straw and just pick whatever you guys don't pick.
Yeah.
I'm in a weird place with Cyberpunk where it was happening the other day where I was on Reddit and someone shared some images of some of the trophies that you can unlock, and their descriptions and their pictures. And one of the guys in the comments was like, "Oh my god, massive spoilers!" And I read them and I was like, I don't know what any of those words mean. I don't care about spoilers for Cyberpunk because I don't know why it's not hitting that level for me.
I'm with you on that one. Like when they said, "Oh, be careful, it's broken street date," and or everyone on Twitter was saying, "Oh, don't forget to add Cyberpunk to your blocked words," and I was like, "Why?"
Yeah.
Oh, it's because the game's out there and people are going to spoil it. I'm like, I don't know anything about this fucking game. What's there going to be?
Yeah, I don't know how they could spoil it for me.
Well, it's like they spoil it. This is the thing. The other thing, you go on the subreddit and they already know who loads of characters are and they know their names and they're showing pictures of them. It's like, I know that the main guy's called V, right?
Yeah.
And you have a mate called Jackie. Who dies in one of the trailers, but probably is still in the game. And then there's a guy who looks like Rick Ross who's in some trailers. And,
Yeah,
it's a weird one because if you tried to spoil The Witcher, if you tried to spoil The Witcher 3 for me back before I'd played it, it would have been completely pointless because I wouldn't have known what the hell you were talking about.
Yeah, this is it.
You fight the Wild Hunt near the end. It's like, I kind of thought that might happen. I don't know because it's an RPG. RPGs are it's almost like someone trying to spoil the real world for you. Yeah. This is going to happen in a number of years. Okay,
but I also feel that
it's not like you can ruin it.
The story trailers that they've come out for Cyberpunk is they kind of lay out the story and your progression through the game. So guess what the fucking spoiler is going to be? Hey, that goal that we've already told you that you're trying to achieve, guess what? You fucking achieve it. So?
I think the most spoilerific thing I've heard, and like you said, it was them announcing it in a trailer before the game came out, which was that Johnny Silverhands is as far as we know, is dead from decades beforehand, and he's almost like a ghost in the machine, he's a virtual presence in your head. Well, that and
Jackie dying, or in the trailers.
And Jackie dying. Jackie dying.
Yeah, anyway, we digress. Yeah. But Jamie, you'll be fine with your 2080 Super. In fact, I'm jealous because I'm going to be running it on a 1060 6GB card. So there you go. C'est la vie.
Laptop living.
Hey, still gonna be better than any PS4.
Hey, Chris, you're gonna be enjoying that glorious 720p medium settings and 30 frames a second.
No, it's actually going to be high at 1080p. So thank you very much.
Please put your frame rate counter on and record footage for us. Please.
I could do that. I'll take a little screen grab for sure.
Okay. I'm not going to lie, right? I genuinely feel a little bit anxious about this because so Jamie's going to be playing it as an example with a 2080 Super. It's going to look lovely.
Yeah.
I have a 1070, so it's not going to look amazing, but that runs I play Valhalla on that. I play Legion on that, and it looks absolutely fine. Those sorts of games. It does, but then I played Miles Morales, which we just talked about, is an incredible looking game. Looks fantastic. Demon's Souls, 60 frames a second, looks fantastic. I'm going to play Cyberpunk on my PlayStation 5, but I'm going to be playing the PlayStation 4 version. So, I'm going to look at Jamie.
Well, this is what Jamie was saying. That's why he's going to be playing it on his PC.
But if I play it on my PC, I won't be able to get near PlayStation 5 standard anyway, so it's almost like there's no point in playing on my PC unless I upgrade my graphics card.
I think you might be surprised.
because as in if I wait for a couple of months, I'm going to get an upgrade to the PlayStation 5 version, which is going to look better than my PC version. So do you see what I mean? I'm in this weird place where I can play it on my PC and not have the ray tracing stuff in a couple of months, or I could play it.
Okay, but you say a couple of months, but if you go by Cyberpunk's track record, it's going to be the end of 2021.
Nah, for the upgrade for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, I reckon March. I can't see it going past that. That'd be madness.
Yeah. I mean, I never thought that the game would be coming out on the 10th of December, so.
Do you know what they need to do for me? And this is I would love, is if they had anyone from CD Projekt Red, if you listen to this, which you don't, but anyway, if they had cross saves, so I could buy it on PC.
They do. PC,
no, they have like PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
If I could buy it on PC, play it until they do the upgrade to the PlayStation 5, and then I can switch, I would probably do that.
I mean, that might be a thing that they could be working on. Who knows? Anyway,
let's hope.
We digress. Okay, next news item. Doom Eternal comes to Switch and Games Pass. As you are listening to this podcast, Doom Eternal is available on Games Pass. So get Games Pass because it's the best deal in gaming. And not sponsored, by the way. Hashtag
I was
no
going to
spawn.
say, that's not really fucking sponsored.
Hashtag no spawn.
It's wild. It's wild.
It is wild. Game Pass is wild.
It's pretty wild. It's wild.
But yeah, it's out on there. It's one of the better games this year, even though I have some issues with it personally, but whatever. And amazingly, it still fucking blows my mind. It's coming out on the Switch on December the 8th. Holy shit. And fellas, you're not going to believe this, but potentially Doomguy could be coming to Fall Guys.
Whoa. I don't think I'll ever play Fall Guys again, but there we go.
Really? So my prediction, it's almost as if I'm like a fucking Nostradamus.
No, come on. It wasn't that bold a prediction, and also it happened a lot later than you guys thought.
This is true.
A hell of a lot later, yeah. I thought it was going to be weeks, not
the peak,
a year.
The peak was higher.
The peak was higher.
It was.
But yeah, just always happy to have more Doom stuff. It's not much to say there, but there's more.
How's that going to play on Switch?
It's more of a PSA.
How's that going to play on Switch?
Probably not great.
I would love to know how that plays.
I believe that the Doom 2016 and the Wolfenstein, I believe they were fine. You know, obviously,
like one of them.
You've got
fine.
But fine. But like you said this before yourself, Chris. Like anyone who's got the option, why?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Because I had been tempted by both Doom 2016 and Wolfenstein on the Switch, and then it's like, but I do have a PlayStation, and even better, I've got a fucking monster gaming laptop. Like, just
plus you
play them on there.
You two never finish these games, no matter where you buy them. So it doesn't matter.
It's true.
I didn't finish Doom Eternal, but that's probably just because I didn't enjoy.
I don't think either of you did.
No, but I didn't enjoy it. I'm not going to finish a game I didn't enjoy.
Although it is one of the games that I ported across to my PlayStation 5 specifically so I could finish it. So
Doom Eternal.
Yeah, Doom Eternal, yeah.
Wow.
The reason I stopped playing Doom Eternal was because other games came out. It wasn't because I didn't want to finish it. I really was enjoying it when I stopped playing it.
Yeah,
it was a hiatus.
Look forward to hearing you completing that.
I'll tell you what, it'll happen before BioShock. I'll tell you that.
Let me ask this question: is Death Stranding still on your hard drive?
It is. That was another one that was moved across.
Oh my lord! Wow. And hard drive space in that PS5 is precious. So
it's basically full, mate.
Plays. Oh, so's mine.
Because I've just yesterday I put the I got Warzone copied in and put the texture pack, the HD texture pack on, and so now I think I'm full. I think I'm round.
Wow. Yep.
Good job.
That hard drive is it's slight.
It's a slim girl. Well, she's very slight.
You know what's taken up a lot of space on your PlayStation, Jonesy, is probably some Ubisoft games. Speaking of which, Ubisoft Connect has a wrap-up video, much like Spotify does end of each year. And I believe, was it end of last year, Sony did a similar one for their PlayStation. Don't know if they've done one yet, but it's probably coming. You can expect it soon. And Xbox, I do believe. But yeah, Ubisoft, wrap up your last 5 years of your Ubisoft history, which is kind of kind of cool, but also probably kind of depressing.
A little bit of both. More than I was you always expect 1 year wrap ups, but I guess Ubisoft making up for lost time with a big old 5 year.
Yeah. I think this was more like a generational thing. Like they're like, it's the end of a generation. Let's see what you've been playing.
But we can gonna conveniently forget what we were doing at the start of the generation. First Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed Unity. What never came out?
I wonder why. I wonder if that's the reason they sort of didn't go back further.
No, it's probably not. But Ubisoft's start to the generation was not pretty.
Yeah,
they are a hit and miss company, to be fair.
They are,
but they hit. But they do sometimes.
I always give Ubisoft the benefit of the doubt because I don't know, they, for such a big company, they always kind of seem like an underdog to me for whatever reason, and I always fight for that underdog. But yeah, if
that is so weird to hear.
But you know what I mean, though, right? Like, do you feel
I legitimately don't. No,
wow.
I see them as gigantic, monolithic, like churn and burn billionaires.
Wow. Which
I'm more like,
but yeah,
I'm more on Chris's side. But in the not that they're like underdog, but more in the sense of they started off so lofty with like these lofty goals, lofty ideals, and they've kind of slipped into this weird middle place.
Yeah. When did you see them as lofty?
Well, the promise of what they would do. So like very early era, so like early Assassin's Creed and stuff like that.
So like what, the 80s?
Jesus Christ. No, like the early noughties and stuff. I thought they were going to go monolithic, as you said, but it feels like they've slipped into some middle ground where I suppose similar to somebody like Square Enix, where they've done a lot of good games in the past and they can still turn out a good game, but sometimes it's a bit ropey and you're like,
the truth of the matter is Jamie is absolutely correct. They are
he's right. Yeah,
monolithic billionaires there. Yeah, sure.
Of course they are. But it feels weird.
Interestingly enough, what you said about their start of the previous generation. By some accounts, depending on who you're listening to, their start to this generation has not really been up to scratch either. So, it'll be interesting.
But yeah, probably not the way they had it planned, because I think they didn't think they'd have games like Watch Dogs Legion on their books by this stage.
Yeah,
remember, like that was meant to come out a long time ago, and there are a couple of other games falling in that spot. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think they ever wanted to release 3 open world action adventure games back to back to back, 1 month after another. But hey, apparently that Immortals Phoenix Rising game is not half bad.
Yeah, I'm kind of tempted, but I got no space on my plate.
I seem to remember a particular early gamer who gave a promising preview of that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. He may or may not be affiliated with the SuperShow podcast. I wouldn't know.
He may or may not have a shit-eating grin on his face right now.
That's just his face.
Yeah. Oh, so watch out, Totoro's come over.
So did you do your Ubisoft Connect wrap?
I've done my Ubisoft Connect. I love these things.
Oh,
unironically.
Go on, Jamie. Give us a stat.
Well, it's weird because I spent less time playing Ubisoft games than I thought I had.
Yeah.
Which is to say 339 hours since 2015. That's not that much, though.
Yeah,
it's
over
really
5 years, that's
not
much at all.
It's not much.
Yeah. And that's spread across 12 games. I think it's because some games I know I didn't play much at all. Like going back to, again, sort of like 2015, 2016, when this was starting, this would have been counting games like Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which I bounced off really quickly for my sins because I know it's not bad.
Yeah.
Like the Rayman games, which were really fun, but I wouldn't have put much time into. Things like that. The main games I put time into apparently are Assassin's Creed Origins, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and perhaps unsurprisingly, The Division 2. And I can tell you, in The Division 2, I have got 7,883 kills and earned over 50 million XP and looted 1,914 items.
Well, at least 50 hours of your total runtime there was you trying to down that giant drone.
Yeah, it probably was. Wow, yeah, I think I streamed that game like 3 times on ATG, so those probably did pad my stats.
Yeah, that
slightly.
was mental, wasn't it? It was like, oh, there's another fucking beta. Okay, let's stream it. Okay,
it was like fucking...
Do the same shit over and over again. Cool.
Yeah. Well, some of those ones you put me in there on my own, so no one else had to deal with it, but that's fine. I liked that game. Do you know what the most depressing thing about my Ubisoft Connect is?
Yeah.
Go on.
On average, I make less than 1 friend a year.
How many friends have you got then? Like 4?
Friendships made you made 3 friendships in 5 years. It's telling me. I don't know who they are.
That's what I wondered that because mine says you've made 5 friends, but that's just literally going to be me talking to you guys and someone else and like connecting up. It's not like making any friends through gaming.
Yeah, I'm looking now. My 3 friends that I made in 5 years are Steph, Chris, and the guy who worked for Ubisoft who walked me through Immortals, who I had to add on Uplay. So I had like a guy talking to me while I played.
Yeah, because it was a COVID.
It was a COVID thing, yeah. Remote desktop stuff, and you have a guy in your ear telling you how to do stuff, and when you get stuck.
Ubisoft, right? I haven't even bothered doing this because
Oh, please do it. It'll be well funny.
I might do it afterwards, but I just don't think that I sunk nearly enough time into Ubisoft games to.
Someone did do an article, which is, to be fair, making content out of nothing, which was that it's really funny to do your Ubisoft Connect wrap-up video if you've barely played any Ubisoft games, because the stats it gives you is like, well done, you've done this, are like kind of sad.
Yeah. You've played 12 hours across all Ubisoft titles. Like.
Mine's a bit like that because it says my second most played game was The Division, but I only took down 4 rogue agents in Manhattan, which is like pitiful. But my most played game was Far Cry 5, and I did spend a decent amount of time playing Far Cry 5. So,
what's your most, Jamie?
My most played game
was it Origin or was it Odyssey?
The Division 2. The Division 2.
Oh wow. Yeah, look at that. Does make sense.
Do you know how this blows my mind? One thing about this blows my mind. And maybe it shouldn't, I'm just simple, but seeing that The Division, which came out ages ago, was one of my top 3 most played Ubisoft games, but I still so clearly remember when we first saw that trailer for The Division and we were blown away by like the glass in the window of the car falling out and how amazing that game looked. We've had 2 bloody games since then, and I've barely played the second one.
All right, let's see. I'm logging into my Ubisoft thing. It's going to be fucking disastrous.
I think I might be able to tell you yours, Chris, because I can look at your account.
Don't. It's going to be so fucking horrible.
I think you might have only played 2 games.
Yeah. Oh, doing Ubi dirty, mate.
And like I said, I haven't really been getting into them. Or if I have been getting into them, it's been on ATG accounts rather than my own. So that might be a reason as well. I would imagine, Jamie, that The Division would probably be, in the last 5 years, would be my highest, the original Division.
I don't think so, because I think it's counting someone you know's playtime in another game
Assassin's Creed,
part of your account. Odyssey. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because according to this, I closed it now, but it looked like you played like 60-something hours of Odyssey, which I don't think you personally have. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. There we go. Depressing. Thanks.
11 years with Ubi apparently, and 21 games owned. That's what my account says.
That's mad.
Oh, how do you find out that stuff?
I just clicked on my little man in the top right.
Oh, it says 11 games with Ubi, 14 games owned.
Oh, you're 11 years as well.
Yeah. What level are you? It gives you a level.
39 apparently.
Oh, I'm 34.
Wow.
I'm surprised at that. I thought you'd be a lot higher level above me than that.
All right. That's like why are you like fucking like a reverse shame? You like you're shaming me for not being more better than you.
Yeah, I should like be shaming myself for not being better, shouldn't I?
Yeah, get off my case.
Man, wow. All right, guys. Well, I think that's all we've got time for this week. We need a code word, fellas. It's been a bit of a weird episode because it's been a bit of a weird week in terms of news.
It's another one of the week where it's been dry because next week's going to be OTT. So next week's going to be Cyberpunk, Game Awards, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but next week's going to be so annoying as well because nothing's going to come out until Game Awards like pops. And we're going to be recording before Game Awards, probably.
Well, I thought we were recording on...
maybe Friday.
I thought we were recording on Friday.
Yeah, probably have to be. Anyway.
Well, because if we record on Thursday, then it's pre-Game Awards and during Cyberpunk time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will be playing Cyberpunk whilst we're recording the podcast. So
that'd be quite funny. Yeah. Anyway, code word. Come on, Jonesy. You haven't had one for a while. Come on. You can think of something.
Good Lord.
He never says
Surely.
anything funny.
Yeah, I'm just too full of facts. I'm not trying to make everyone laugh like something.
I mean,
Wow.
Jesus, what a burn.
I don't even know.
What about something
have we
about
talked about?
something about Samus or Metroid? Just sum up your Metroid thoughts in like 2 words.
No, because that I'm not trying to slag off Metroid. My
Jonesy, you were trying to slag off Metroid, man.
No, I was trying to say that people get too overexcited about it.
Wow.
But I don't know how you can put that.
So you could like they're Samus stands almost.
Samus Simps.
The
Samus Simps. There you go.
Samus Simps is your code word if you've made it this far. Thank you so much for joining us for this week. And yet again, we are shutting off before the 2-hour mark.
It's not our fault.
You literally cackle, but there are people, and they've been in the Discord this week as well, saying they want 2 hours. And I want, after the record, I've spoken openly multiple times that I want to give it to them, Chris.
If they need more,
can I give
over
you
a $5 Patreon, you can watch the Q&A, which was an hour and a half and is only part 1. So there you go.
There you
I
go.
think it was longer than an hour and a half. It was an hour and 54 minutes.
Oh, that was longer than this.
Yeah, pretty much. But
Jesus
can I give you a peek behind the curtains? I want to hit that stop record button because my bladder is full of urine and I need to evacuate.
I'm glad that's what it's full of. If it was full of anything else, then we'd be in trouble.
Jesus. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching or listening on a podcast platform of your choice, we love you very much and we'll see you next week. See ya.